What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to Cornfield Confessional. I'm your host, Jake Brown. Real quick, I'm a big energy drink guy. If any of you else out there love energy drinks, try Goat Fuel. You can get them at Quick Trip. That's the big gas station here in Kansas City. Probably any gas station has them, but 200 milligrams of caffeine. And I just tried this new Jerry Rice Edition tropical berry flavor. Not only does it give you energy and keep you awake and alert and focused, but this is a phenomenal flavor. Most energy drinks kind of taste like crap. I just got them just because I like the energy. Try Goat Fuel. I keep turning it the wrong way. The Jerry Rice Edition, baby. It's the real deal. All right. We're talking Nebraska, Penn State. Hang on, I've got the wrong banner pulled up. Nebraska, Penn State. Huskers are back at home tomorrow, 1 o'clock Central on Big Ten Network. Penn State is one of the worst teams in the conference. There's no other way to put it. They come into this game just 11-16 on the season, 2-14 in conference. So they're really struggling. They've lost 4 of their last 5 games. Let's look at their schedule. So one thing I noticed, they had that stretch starting with Illinois January 3rd all the way to the 29th. What is that, like 7 straight losses? 8 straight losses. So they've really gotten just dominated in conference play. But one thing I noticed is they give up more points than any team in the conference, 79.2 points per game, but especially on the road, they give up a crap ton of points. So look at their first true tough road game at Indiana, December 9th. They got beat 113-72. Then they go back home. They keep it close with Michigan State. Got blown out by Pittsburgh. But look, next road game at Purdue. Wasn't a blowout, but how many points did they give up? They give up 93 points on the road to Purdue. Then they go to Maryland on the road. They give up 96 points and get beat by 23 points. 23 points. God dang, man. Then they go on the road at Ohio State. Pretty close game, but they give up 84 points. Then they go to Northwestern. They get blown out by 21. They give up 94 points. They go on the road to Ann Arbor. They give up 110 points. At Oregon, 83 points. So there's a trend here. They give up even more points than they do, which has been the worst defense in the entire conference, but on the road, they're especially bad. So Nebraska should be licking their chops, ready to go. You better hope we come out shooting hot like, we used to first 20 games of the season. So no good wins for them. They somehow beat Minnesota at home, and then they squeaked out a win at Washington, but other than that, it's really been dismal for them. Let's look at their stat leaders. So they don't have a Bennett Sturts. They don't have the kid from Northwestern, Nick Małowski or something. I can't think of it right now. They don't have a dude that's scoring 20-plus points a game, but they have a balanced trio. 3 dudes. Freddie DeLeon, 14.3 points per game. Caden Mingo, the freshman phenom, 14 a game. And then Josh Reed, their forward, at 11.2 points per game. So pretty good balance. And then you look down into their bench, they've got pretty good bench production, right? They've got 7 guys averaging at least 7 points per game. Now, I wanted to get into, I love looking at recruiting and teams' rosters to see how talented their rosters are. I wish basketball did a team talent composite like college football does. I haven't been able to find one for college basketball. Not sure why. You'd think it would be easier with less players on each team, but Freddie DeLeon, the 5th, their shooting guard. He's a junior. Transfer from Tennessee. He played 1 year at Tennessee, and this is now his 2nd season at Penn State, but this kid was a highly touted recruit out of high school and a big-time prospect in the transfer portal after he left Tennessee. Out of high school, he was the 46th overall player nationally, 7th rated combo guard in the entire country, and the number 1 player in the state of North Carolina coming out of high school. Then in the transfer portal, as you see, he was rated the 102nd overall player in the transfer portal, the 10th rated combo guard. So this kid's the real deal. He leads them in scoring, 14.3 points per game, 3.4 rebounds, and 2.4 assists per game. 6'5", 195, shooting guard. Then, Caden Mingo, the freshman phenom, baby. I don't know how they landed this kid. It was a great pickup for them. True freshman, but look at his rating. National, 34. That means he was rated the 34th best player in the country coming out of high school. CG is combo guard. That means he was the 4th best combo guard coming out of high school in the country. And then NY, New York. He's from New York. He was the 2nd best player coming out of the state of New York, which is a lot of basketball talent in New York, all up in the Northeast. So the fact they landed this kid, I mean, he's almost a 5-star recruit, 95 overall rating. If he stays till his junior year, I don't know what the rule is in college basketball. I think, yeah, they can do one-and-dones, but hopefully he stays. But can you imagine what he can do by the time he's a junior? Look at his numbers this season. As a true freshman, 14 points per game, 3.5 rebounds, 4.3 assists. So not only is he one of their best scorers, he's the facilitator on offense. He's 6'3", 195. And then Josh Reed, he was a Cincinnati transfer. He's their power forward, 6'8", 230, so not huge. 3-star coming out of the transfer portal from Cincinnati. 11.2 points per game on the season, 4 rebounds, and just under 1 assist per game. Came out of Atlanta, Georgia, out of high school. And then Ivan Juric, their center. True freshman, another freshman out of Croatia. You see, it's CROA. You see that underneath as a prospect. That's Croatia. So that means he was the 3rd best player coming out of the country of Croatia. The 52nd overall power forward coming out of high school in Croatia. But he's 7 feet, 250 pounds. Now, he's by far their biggest guy on their roster. They don't have much size other than this kid. But he's not that great of a rebounder. Let's pull up his numbers again. What is he averaging rebounds? He is their leading rebounder, but it's only 5.1 rebounds per game. So if there's a guy Nebraska needs to key on boxing out, it's him. Ivan Juric, freshman 7-footer, 3-star out of high school, 3-star player prospect coming out of Croatia. And then a guy that comes off the bench, or likely will come off the bench, Meli Tunka. I bring him up because he's out of Turkey, like Berke Buchtenschel, who I love to hate on. But both Berke and this kid Tunka were highly rated prospects coming out of the country of Turkey. You see the 24/7 Sports composite that just pulls in all the different ESPN, Rivals, On3, 24/7 Sports. So I think that gives you the most accurate look at their ratings. They had him as the 139th best player in the country, 22nd overall shooting guard, and the 12th best player out of Turkey. So he'll come off the bench. He's a highly touted freshman. So they've got a pretty talented roster, you guys. For how much they've struggled this year, you wouldn't think it by looking at their roster. All right, their probable starting lineup. They've had a lot of different lineups and different rotations this season, but I think this is what it's going to be tomorrow. Caden Mingo at point. Freddie DeLeon, the 5th, at 2 guard. Dominic Stewart at small forward. Ivan Juric at forward. And then Josh Reed at the other forward. All right, let's talk their strengths. Penn State's strengths. So, number 1, balanced scoring trio. So, kind of already talked about it. Freddie DeLeon, the 5th. Caden Mingo, and Josh Reed. All of them are averaging double digits this year in points. But got a lot of support across the roster. They don't just rely on one player. They've got good bench production. They've got 7 players, like I already showed you, averaging at least 7 points per game this season. So that's solid. And it's surprising for how bad they are this year. You wouldn't think it. And then here's another shocker. Second strength for Penn State. They force more turnovers than any team in the conference this season. They're the best in the conference at forcing turnovers with 7.3 a game. Slightly above Nebraska. So they will, especially the way Nebraska's played the last few games, uncharacteristic turnovers, they're going to be looking to play tight, intense defense. They're going to try to get a lot of turnovers, baby. Third strength for Penn State, efficient shooting offense. They don't shoot well from three, but they shoot 47% from the field. That's the exact same as Nebraska at this point in the season. Penn State and Nebraska both shooting 46.9% from the field so far this season. So they can attack the rim effectively, and they convert a lot of high percentage looks. Even though they struggle from three, they move the ball well, and they get high percentage shots. Weaknesses for Penn State. Hang on. Accidentally clicked the wrong thing. All right, Penn State weaknesses. So, number one, their defense. They allow the most points per game in the entire conference, 79.2 points per game. That's more than they score on average. Nebraska has a big opportunity here. If we can just get back on track, start hitting shots again at a high rate, open shots. If we can get guys on the bench to produce scoring, Frager, Cale Jacobson. If we can get Leo Curtis healthy, if we can get like the first 15, 20 games of the season. I know we were 20-0, so that's easy to say, but we had a lot of guys producing. It wasn't just Price Sanford or Rank Mast. It was Braden Frager. It was Jamarcus Lawrence. It was Sam Hoiberg some nights. We had multiple different guys that were, leading us in scoring each game, and that's kind of just fallen by the wayside. It's been mainly just Price Sanford lately. So Nebraska, playing against the worst statistical defense in the conference, has a big opportunity at home to light it up. Second weakness for Penn State, rebounding. Now, I said this about Iowa. When I did the Iowa preview, Iowa was the second worst rebounding team in the league. Penn State's the worst rebounding team in the league, but Iowa kicked our ass on the glass. And I think every team that's watched our recent stretch of games, starting with that Illinois game at home, crashed the boards against Nebraska, baby. They're going to try to do the same thing. So even though statistically they're the worst rebounding team in the conference with just 29.6 boards a game, they're going to crash the boards hard. They are going to. So Nebraska needs to box out effectively. Third weakness for Penn State, three-point shooting. They're only shooting 32% on the season from three. That's 15th or third worst in the conference. So that's a good sign for Nebraska, who's been having uncharacteristic turnovers lately. It's good to know that, hey, even if we do and they get out in transition off a turnover, not a great likelihood that they're going to knock down multiple threes in a row. So it's always good when you're playing a team that doesn't shoot threes at a high rate, especially with, how much, Nebraska being back at home and just having all the crowd energy and momentum. I think it's going to be hard for Penn State to knock down a bunch of threes in this game. All right. Husker keys to victory. You guys have heard me say this before, baby. Number one key to victory. Attack the effing paint. Attack the effing paint. Attack the rim. Both of them. Penn State has had serious trouble protecting the interior. Nebraska should look to get the ball into the paint early and often, drawing fouls, getting high percentage shots. For Mast, primarily Rank Mast, because I don't want Burke to take a bunch of shots, but if he's going to take any, it better be close to the rim. I think our guards, too, I think you're going to see Sanford move better without the ball. We're going to find guys open looks for layups in the paint. I think Hoiberg's going to be aggressive taking it to the rim. I think J-Laws, you're going to see him play more aggressive. Braden Frager. I know Fred Hoiberg's a hell of a coach, and I think he's as sick as I am and all the fans at how bad Nebraska's done at getting to the free throw line. We've got to be aggressive because we haven't the last few games. I could have said this against Iowa, and it should have been one of Rank Mast's best games. That matchup against Iowa favored him tremendously. Here's another matchup where it's going to heavily favor Rank Mast. He should go off. Now, he hasn't looked himself lately. You never know what version of Rank you're going to get. Hopefully, it's the Rutgers Rank Mast. But he should have, based on this matchup, one of his best games of the season. If he doesn't, it's just really too bad. Second key to the game, box out. You know it. Nebraska needs to win the rebounding battle, as we've seen how much that kills us in recent losses. Penn State is the worst rebounding team in the conference. Let me say that again. The worst rebounding team in the conference. Not a shot in hell should we get beat on the glass. Third key, get to the free throw line. 20-plus times is what I want. I think we can still win the, 15 or more. Hell, I think we'll win the game even if we only had 5 free throw attempts. But me personally, and I think a lot of the fans, and even Fred Hoiberg, we want to see the Nebraska be more aggressive and get more attempts at the free throw line. It can only help this team. Okay? I would love it if we had 20-plus free throw attempts. That's going to be tough. Nebraska hasn't done that very many times, but, man, I'd love to see that. And it would just make it so much easier for us to win this game, in my opinion. Fourth key, defense, pick it up. We've got to force tough shots the whole game. Defensive discipline on the perimeter, even though they're not a great statistical three-point shooting team, and in pick-and-roll coverages. That's going to force them into lower percentage shots and just help us get the victory. So, my game prediction, I think the Huskers get back on track at home, thank God, 80-63. I think it'll be a close first half. I think Nebraska will pull away last 15 minutes. I think Jamarcus Lawrence is going to have a big game. I just see him getting back on track. I think he's going to be aggressive, trying to take it to the rim, driving it to the basket, using his ball handling and quickness. I think Rank Mast will get his crap together and have a solid game. I think you're going to see him take a lot of those hook shots and high percentage close shots to the basket. And then I think Braden Frager is going to have a comeback game too. So I think all in all, you're going to see more contributions from our whole team. I think defensively, we're going to have a lot of turnovers, force a lot of turnovers, and we're going to finally turn those turnovers into points. Nebraska's done a horrible job at points off turnovers the last few games. I think we're going to get back on track against Penn State, especially at home. So Huskers have home court advantage in a game we're clearly the better team. I do think we're going to come out cold in the first half, but I think we'll work ourselves out of it. We're going to work our ball movement. We're going to find guys. The movement on offense is going to be a lot better. And I also think not just the guards are going to be aggressive taking it to the rim, because Penn State's going to play tight, aggressive defense, trying to force steals. Nebraska's guards are going to be more aggressive, but we're also going to feed the ball inside. I really believe it. We're going to feed it early and often to Rank Mast because of how aggressive Penn State's defense will play. But I think it'll be relatively close first half, and then the second half, I think that's when Nebraska's going to start to heat up, take advantage of the energy from the home crowd, and overall aggressive to the rim. Our guards are going to look to feed Mast inside and drive to the basket, get into the line. Seeing just chucking up threes and passing the ball around the three-point line, I think you're going to see a different game plan and different level of aggression from Nebraska's offense. I also see us forcing a high amount of turnovers. I think we're going to force 12-plus turnovers and finally get a high amount of points off those turnovers. I think Mast will get back on track, take multiple high percentage looks, and get to the free throw line. But just to recap, keys to the game, 20-plus free throws, win the rebounding battle, and get Mast looks inside early and often. And that also includes our guards taking the ball to the basket. Don't be afraid to get your shot blocked. They don't have a ton of size and length. All right. That's all I've got, you guys. Thanks for watching. Appreciate you putting up with my anger and animosity on that last episode. I've had a couple days to get it out of my head, but still a lot of question marks for this Nebraska team. Man, I'm not the only one that sure would love for them to come out just shooting lights out and just blow the doors off this Penn State team. And the next couple of games, Penn State and Maryland, both back at home, we've got to get back on track. We can't dick around with either of these teams. So remember, guys, like and subscribe. I've gotten like 10 to 12 new subscribers just this week alone. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Keep telling your friends and family and fellow Huskers about me if you enjoy my comment. And don't forget to keep leaving comments. Thanks so much, you guys. Have a great weekend. Huskers against Penn State, 1 o'clock tomorrow Central, Big Ten Network. Thanks, you guys. Have a great weekend. And like always, go Big Red, baby.